In all this ice bucket cat piss hysteria, the media hasn't really put a face on this thing called ALS. This is Jason Becker, but this is him in the late 70s. Here's Jason after putting on a few years and really getting comfortable in his own skin.
There are three basic patterns when I'm not thinking and I just go on autopilot that I use, which I've been on autopilot since I got here. And it's just the easy way out. Okay, I'll just show you.
In fact, he was getting so comfortable that David Lee Roth called him up and asked if he would sit in on David's next album and join him as guitarist on his upcoming world tour. Jason agreed and was whisked off to join Roth in the studio, where they recorded the full album to everyone's delight. Jason was playing some practice gigs with Roth, and they were staying in the same hotel. One morning, as everyone was heading to breakfast, it was noticed that Jason was limping slightly. A few months and a few doctor's appointments later, Jason had ALS. Before long, Jason could no longer play guitar and eventually took a seat in the wheelchair where he remains to this day, totally paralyzed. Why do I bring up Jason Becker and show you how his career wasn't even allowed to get off the ground because of ALS? Because I want you to think hard about what you do. I want you to think hard about who you endorse and who you decide to donate your money to. I don't have any proof that this Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS is a con game of some kind. But I do have evidence that the medical research community involved in research purportedly seeking treatments and even cures for conditions like ALS have a worse than disappointing track record. What's more is that despite claiming your money will help to fund research that will one day lead to a treatment or cure for ALS, the reality is that it's more likely your contribution will fund things like flu vaccinations that give you the flu instead of preventing it, or the development of a more resilient strain of Ebola virus, or maybe the next AIDS virus. I'm simply not going to present all of the information I've acquired over the years that leads me to suspect what the NIH calls biomedical research is really just a cover for the effort to suppress non-traditional medicine, demonize alternative therapies, including research into marijuana compounds, and methods to control the population through illness and disease. Just look at this headline in a recent NBC News article. Cash raised can't fill hole in ALS research. And further on in the article, anyone who thinks that money is going to cure ALS is just dreaming, experts point out. The article mentions the Ice Bucket Challenge has raised $42 million. But the NIH funds $30 billion per year in medical research, typically through grants. Well, I've taken the time to research those grants, who receives them, and what the money is spent on. You don't even need to bother going beyond the research title when looking at what research is awarded this funding. You'll find things like research into causing the mind to be erased of all memory, techniques of aerosolizing bacteria in the atmosphere, a machine to read someone's mind at a distance and determine if they intend to commit acts of terror. The companies being awarded these grants aren't all based in the U.S. One company in Israel is pioneering efforts to synthesize DNA from scratch. They presumably imagine the world will be a better place when synthesized DNA that matches a given target can be planted at a murder scene to raise conviction rates. In conclusion, think twice when someone asks you, can all of the scientists in the world really be wrong? I'm here to tell you, yeah, they can.